Hey, Mufasi here. This is a clip from our full podcast. Go check out the full episodes. You can watch them more on our YouTube or go listen to them on Spotify.
I'm curious on like how long you've been a wrestling fan and like how you got into wrestling or when or both.
How long have I been a wrestling fan? But I think I started really watching around 2009. 2009, I would say. So, however many years that is, I've been a wrestling fan since then because around 2009, especially when a feud between CM Punk and Jeff Hardy was going on,
Oh, yeah.
I'm straight edge or live for the moment, and then Jeff Hardy got kicked out of the WWE. At the time, we thought it was real. We thought it was because CM Punk beat him. I had no idea, obviously, about how wrestling worked. It was crazy. But initially, I just kept up with it because 2009, the best way I can put it was our Attitude Era in Turkey. You would see people wearing John Cena shirts who had no idea what professional wrestling was. It was just t-shirts
awesome.
were everywhere, and people would just buy them and wear them. So like you would not be able to run away from professional wrestling at that date in Turkey. It was almost on, I think, prime time. Right after the news, you would have an episode of SmackDown or Raw come out. The funny thing was actually we were always 3 weeks behind because we didn't have subtitles. We would do what do you call it? Voiceovers. So it was always really, really delayed. But at the time, this is 2009. Sure, we had internet again, but I mean, this is basically the infancy of social media. So
yeah,
we weren't getting any spoilers either. So even if we were 3 weeks behind, at the time, I didn't really speak that much English either. Now that I think about it, but yeah, that's how it started. And then I remember like clearly that after Jeff Hardy lost and got kicked out of the company, most of my friends who were fanatically watching this like gave up immediately and they stopped watching it. But for some reason, I really enjoyed the games and I kept playing them. And that's what really kept me connected with wrestling. And eventually, social media came into the picture. Facebook, that's where it started for me. I was seeing like videos of Matt Hardy. I remember he was like in turmoil with the WWE as well. I was like, whoa, what's going on? Is he gonna leave? But yeah, eventually, like I just found myself on the YouTube algorithm, the early YouTube algorithm, of course. And like I was watching guys like CM Pulse. I think he was number one, Tony Pizza guy as well. And especially CM Pulse was doing like this wrestling review shows. That's when I really started to hear all these weird terms of like jobber, like all the terms that we know, the insider ones. And the more I saw the curtain kind of go back, the more I started to get interested in it. I don't know why. It just, it felt like a magic trick. And once I saw how it worked, like I said, it just got me more interested. And then, a little after that, the Summer of Punk happened. And at that time, with that happening, I was pretty much hooked. And I started watching every week, mostly the highlights, though, because in Turkey, again, we have the time difference. It is 11 p.m. right now for me. And for you guys, it's 4 p.m. So we have that 7 hours. So for us, it's always been Raw and SmackDown and even the pay-per-view start at 3 a.m., right? So earlier when I was a kid, my father is a strict person and he would hate for anybody to stay, up after 12 a.m. and he would get really angry and make me go to sleep. So I just have many nights like going crazy, making all these weird, movements, but I could not make a sound. Like, for example, when Dean Ambrose cashed in and won the WWE Championship, I was just going crazy, jumping around, but yeah, just silently. And I was just super scared and on edge all the time. What if my father, opens the door and like, how am I going to explain this? So I think it's a very Turkish thing. I'm sure if there's a country with a different time zone, people there might have similar viewpoints. And there's the aspect of, especially when I was younger, like your parents, and this goes for you guys as well, is like, oh, this is just really bad, they're saying bad words, they're hitting each other, there's blood. Like I had no idea how my parents would react to it. And so it was interesting. But yeah, that's how I slowly ended up becoming engulfed in this. And over time, I actually even wanted to, get in the ring and try it myself as well. But that's, I guess, the gist of the story.
I did want to ask you about some of the big like cultural differences between like wrestling fans in Turkey and wrestling fans in I guess Canada or the States is like, because obviously wrestling and I feel like video games too connect different cultures so easily. It's just like, you know, you're both passionate about something, whether there's a language barrier or a cultural difference, you're still connected and you can share that passion for that topic. So what are some of the main like cultural differences you've noticed with like wrestling fans in Turkey or wrestling fans on our side here?
That's a good question. I think the number one thing, like as soon as you ask this question, that comes to my mind is the difference between the favorites of the people. Like, let's say Cody is way bigger in America and in Canada. I
Yeah.
would guess for obvious reasons. Same as Jey Uso, actually. I remember going to Money in the Bank in Canada. Yeah, like that was my first and only ever WWE show. So
Was Money in the Bank?
yeah, Money in the Bank this year. Yeah. So what really surprised me was like throughout the city in Toronto, around Scotiabank Arena, everybody, nearly 90%, 99% of the people I saw were wearing Jey Uso shirts, like the Yeet shirt. And I couldn't believe it. In Turkey, we're much more, I guess, engulfed with the older legendary guys and stronger guys. Like, so Roman Reigns is liked a lot more. Brock Lesnar is liked way more. Randy Orton, like, if he was going against Cody, most of the people in Turkey will pick Randy Orton, way more than in the USA. I mean, we have the same camps of like the Cody crybabies and that whole bunch as well. But I think in Turkey, definitely are more, favorite.
It's like all the big older legends. So it's
Pretty
like,
much,
it's
pretty
like,
much.
it's almost like it's like behind in the fan base. Like it's still like connected to all the older people. And the US is like, hey, give me the next one. Like, give me the next guy. But
exactly.
Oh, that makes sense. So that's interesting.
You know how I mentioned 2009 was our Attitude Era?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's why people really like John Cena still to this day, or like even Rey Mysterio. I mean, holy cow. Like he was another person.
He was the guy. And Jeff Hardy too. You mentioned that feud with CM Punk. That was like one of the feuds that got me into it.
Yeah.
It pushed me to get I can't remember what order it was, but I got SmackDown versus Raw 09. And either I started watching after that or I watched the CM Punk Jeff Hardy thing and then started playing. And it's cool, Mufasi, too, that you mentioned the how like people are connected through wrestling and video games in similar ways. It's also funny how similar like wrestling is to a video game. I'm trying like what's a finisher that someone uses that's just like a move but they're doing it. You know what I mean? Like
a super kick, like
a super kick, or like even like a spear.
Yeah,
like a spear
at this point. Yeah,
it's like holds so much more power because like Roman Reigns does it or because Edge does it. It's one of those nuances of pro wrestling that's very like only in that or a video game. And so I think
that's a good point.
Where a lot of people are like pulled into it is that it's very similar to a video game. And like our last guest that we had, Deporticus, was talking about like how he played one of the old school games, and to him it was just like he didn't watch wrestling, so to him it was just like playing like Smash. You know what I mean?
Right.
Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
Mortal Kombat, is what he said. It's like they were just fighting characters for him. So
I mean, I think NetherRealms did do like a WWE game. So could happen again. And in fact, I would love if they did it again in 2024 or 25. Like I really would love to see some iteration in the wrestling game.
Yeah.
Sphere, but I know that's not part of the question.